Hello everyone, this video is going to be about the significance of fountains throughout the city of Siena, Italy. My name is Erin Gallagher and I'm studying art history in Siena. Through the explorations that we've done so far, we have learned that every aspect of architecture and structure is significant throughout the city of Siena. We're going to start with the Fonte Gaia, located in Piazza del Campo, directly across from Palazzo Pubblico, which is where the governing body of Siena is located. In a medieval Renaissance city like Siena, which has no natural water sources like rivers or lakes, the fountains symbolize power and moreover wealth. One interesting note about the current fountain is that it is not in fact the original. There have been restorations of the fountain, making it what we now see today. In Siena, there is a small sum of fountains, but aside from Fonte Gaia, they are far more hidden and less decorated. The Fonte Gaia features several different sculptings with the stones creating the fountain walls. The carvings and art surrounding the fountain are done in Gothic Renaissance style. As previously mentioned, water symbolizes both power and wealth. So, Siena established a bold role in placing this large display of water directly in the city center, making the proclamation that Siena was a wealthy and powerful city, along with the name Fonte Gaia, translating to joyous fountain. The fountain was called this because as the fountain was created, the citizens and other witnesses were overjoyed with the arrival of water within the city of Siena. On either side of the fountain, in the very front, there are statues of the she-wolves spitting water. These symbols relate back to the story of Romulus and Remus and Siena's founding. The story says that a woman who was forced to become a Vestal virgin named Rhea ended up conceiving and birthing Romulus and Remus with the god of Mars. She was then imprisoned and a servant was ordered to kill both Romulus and Remus. The person ordering this was trying to claim a throne and needed to eliminate the possibility of inheritances in order to be crowned. Romulus and Remus were shown mercy, and the twins were left in the Tiber River and the woods, where a she-wolf discovers them. The she-wolf had just lost her own cubs, and so Romulus and Remus were able to feed from her. Eventually, the twins were rescued and grew up to found the city of Rome. Then, Remus has twins named Siena and Accio, who endured a similar trek and went on to found the city of Siena. The symbols in the fountain pay homage to this story and also have the significance of protection by placing them on either side as guardians and protectors of the city, and its power and wealth are shown through the flow of water coming from the figures. It is important to note Siena's claiming of this story and attempt to gain power and recognition over the now capital city of Rome. Along with the she-wolves are other figures like the Madonna holding a child, reminiscent of the Virgin holding her baby in other famous works seen in the center of the fountain and surrounded by other virtuous figures. The work represents spiritual salvation that could be practiced through religious and intellectual behaviors. This idea is similar to that represented in Good Government by Ambrogio Lorenzetti, also located in Siena in Palazzo Pubblico. Next, we will look at the Fonte del Cassato, which is a hidden fountain near Piazza del Campo. It is a short walk from the Fonte Gaia, but holds a very different purpose. The fountain has two pools, one with running water, the other with still water. The water could be used to consume back during the Renaissance times and was also used to wash clothes and such. The fountain is somewhat hidden from the center and not easily noticed while walking the city streets. This is because during the Renaissance period, water was highly coveted and to be protected since it symbolized power and wealth. This fountain does not offer the same sort of artistic beauty, but rather served a significant purpose for the citizens of Siena. The fountain is covered by a roof offering protection and secrecy for the fountain, allowing citizens to access it for cooking and agricultural uses in addition to drinking and laundry. Today, people who know about the fountain allow their dogs to drink from it and admire the history of the Etruscan city. We will now move on to discuss the Fonte Branda. located near the San Domenica Church and St. Catherine's home during her time. The Fonte Branda is the largest of the fountains in Siena and further from the city center than the ones we have already looked at. Being the largest, the fountain houses the most amount of water, which could be used for agricultural and millwork, as well as for wool workers to dye wool. The fountain is so large and majestically built in an attempt to protect the coveted water basins. The fountain was well known in the 1300s and was mentioned by Dante in Inferno. This fountain features 3 different water basins at 3 different levels, signifying what each basin was to be used for. The largest and highest basin is used for drinking and houses the cleanest water. The second basin, which is slightly lower, houses water used for animals to drink, and the third and lowest basin was used as a toilet. The fountain is associated with St. Catherine and what she stood for during her time for fighting for gender equality and equity within the patriarchal and religious world in which she lived. Looking at the back wall of this fountain, there is some remnants of the frescoes that were once there. During these times of the 1300s, many people could not read, so frescoes were used as a means of communication and storytelling. However, the plaster used for the frescoes do not age well with the humidity of the fountain, which is why we cannot see what paintings were once there. The fountain sits just below San Domenica and a short walk to the house of St. Catherine and is absolutely worth visiting while in Siena. The next and final fountain we will look at is called Fonte Nuova di Ovile. Located beyond the city gates, this fountain is named for the gate to the city which it is nearest. Similar to the previous fountains, this one is again a medieval fountain. In fact, it started operating just a few years before the 1300s, which is why it was named Nuova di Ovile, because it was the new one. This fountain was considered extremely peaceful and serene, in part because it is located just outside the city walls of Siena. It was primarily used for farmers to access water for agricultural purposes. The arches of the fountain are in a Gothic style and houses 2 water basins, one lower than the other, both with running water. One used for drinking and the other a wash house. This fountain was located at one of the entrances to the city, immediately establishing Siena's power and wealth when entering the city walls through the symbolization of water. Near the entrance to the viewing area of the fountain, there is a bridge to the top of it, where there once were custodial quarters. Today, the fountain is admired by people looking to enjoy a small grassy park, the sound of running water, and allow their dogs to enjoy the fresh air. Although the fountain is beyond the city center, it offers a nice look at a different environment of Siena. This brings me to the end of this video, talking about the different fountains of Siena and the significance which they represent.